Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jared Poirier, and welcome to my movie review show where I talk about movies. Okay, so on last week's show, we did a review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, but on today's show, we're reviewing a Netflix series. That's right, guys. Get ready for my review of Altered Carbon. And you guys can probably hear this in my voice, but I'm a little bit sick right now, and I look like shit on camera. So you guys are getting this one podcast style. So Netflix has some money now, and they can start putting that behind some quality entertainment. And I gotta say that I was actually really impressed with the quality of this Altered Carbon show. So this series is based off of a book by Richard K. Morgan, and it takes place hundreds of years in the future, where technology has allowed people to essentially burn their consciousness onto what's basically a hard drive and implant that consciousness into any body that they want. Alright, so let's start with the characters. And this series stars Joel Kinnaman as Takeshi Kovacs, or that's one of the characters that he inhabits. He also inhabits the body of this guy called Riker. We also have Martha Higarda as Kristen Ortega, as well as James Purefoy as Lawrence Bancroft. I also really enjoyed Chris Connor as this AI that looks like Edgar Allan Poe. And I would say that overall, the characters in this series are pretty interesting. I was particularly invested in the character of Kovacs. He's lived through all these different lives, and he's had all of these different experiences that have really tested his willpower. The character of Ortega is very interesting as well. She's this really strong, badass female character who doesn't take any from anybody. And she's at the center of the main conspiracy that this story kind of revolves around. And she's also at the center of the main thematic conflict in this series. But I'll get into that a little bit more later. And I'm not going to go into detail about every single character here, because there are quite a few. But suffice it to say that I was very invested in these characters, and that I actually thought that the writers did a good job of filling out the characters that were most important to the story. And speaking of the story, that's actually the next category that I want to cover in this review. So I found that the story in Altered Carbon is pretty complicated, but it's pretty well constructed as well. There are a lot of subplots and quite a bit of world building, but all of that really feeds into the main plot, so it wasn't a distraction and it wasn't unnecessary. I also found that the story had quite a few twists and turns. Like, there are a lot of twists episode to episode. Pretty much every episode there's a big reveal that fundamentally changes how our protagonist views the world and how we view the world. And although it is good to have some twists and keep the audience guessing, I think that by the end I was starting to get a little bit of twist fatigue. So I would say that overall, the story in Altered Carbon is fairly well constructed, but they do get a little bit carried away with the twists. Okay, so let's talk about the effects. And I really liked the way that effects were utilized to create the world of Altered Carbon. I really liked the way that they present this futuristic city, and there's also some really beautiful wide shots of the city as well. I also found that effects were well utilized to create all of the weapons and vehicles in Altered Carbon, and I thought that the costumes were good as well. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the action in Altered Carbon. And overall, I thought that the action was really exciting and really well shot. There are, of course, some pretty generic action sequences, but there are some really well done, really standout action sequences as well. I would say that overall, the action scenes are well choreographed and well executed. There's a particularly good action scene that takes place in this underground fight club. You'll know it when you see it. I also thought that world building was another thing that this series did really well. Because in this new world, in this future universe here, there has been a lot of changes to society. This new technology has had tons of implications, be it economic, be it social, be it moral implications, that society has had to deal with as a result. And I really enjoyed how this series goes into all of the changes that have occurred since the implementation of that new technology. And the final thing that I want to go into here is some of the themes that are explored by this show. because I think that this is actually the best thing about this series, Altered Carbon. I really enjoy some of the deep themes that this series explores. It really gets into spirituality and consciousness and stuff like that, and it just got me thinking pretty deeply about those subjects. And honestly, guys, as much as it is the action and, like the special effects and the mystery of a television show that gets you watching each and every new episode, for me here, I was excited to see each and every new episode of Altered Carbon because I knew that it was going to explore these themes in an interesting way. So yeah, guys, overall, I found that Altered Carbon was a really intriguing and really well-made series. Pretty much everything that you could want from a Netflix series, really. Really interesting story, interesting characters, good effects, good world building, good action, all around. I would say that it was just pretty solid. There's also quite a bit of violence and sex in this as well, so that's good. So if you like your sci-fi and any of that sounds interesting to you, then check out Altered Carbon. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time.
So we're doing the good YouTuber shout out, and today we're shouting out Technodrome 406. So Technodrome has a YouTube channel where he reviews movies, he does some trailer reactions, and some predictions as well. And this guy is the youngest YouTuber that I've ever featured in this segment, and he's actually been releasing tons of videos lately because he's been on like March break or whatever. I kind of forget how school works, it's been a while. But yeah, if you guys want to see a young motivated YouTuber who's doing his thing and putting out a lot of videos, then check out Technodrome 406, and I will see you guys next time.